So, what's the difference between a good story and one that just sticks with you forever? Well, today we're going to break down how to write an unforgettable story. And we're not going to think like writers, we're going to think like architects. Let's get into it. Okay, first things first, Once Upon a Time has to go. It's done. Modern storytelling is all about grabbing your reader from the very first line. You don't want a slow, sleepy opening. You want to drop them right into the middle of the action, the emotion, the conflict. That right there, that's the good stuff. And that really is the main idea here. A truly great story isn't something that's just written down. It's built, piece by piece. It has a blueprint, it needs a solid foundation, and it needs a structure that's designed to pull people in and not let go. So, let's start building. Every amazing structure starts with a blueprint, right? Well, for your story, the blueprint is the plot. It's the whole sequence of events that becomes the backbone of your narrative. And when you strip it all down, plot is actually incredibly simple. A problem shows up. The tension around that problem starts to build, and finally, the problem gets resolved. Seriously, that simple three-step process is the engine inside almost every story you've ever loved. And what's really fascinating is that all those problems, all those conflicts, they pretty much always fall into one of just three categories. You've got your character fighting another person, that's man versus man. You've got them fighting the world, like a hurricane or a war, that's man versus nature. Or the battle is inside their own head, that's man versus self. All right, we've got our blueprint. The plot is mapped out. Now it's time to actually pour the concrete and lay the foundation. And in a story, that foundation is made of two things, the setting and the characters. Think of it like this. The setting is the when and the where. It's the world your story lives in. And your characters? They're the who. They are the heart and soul of that world, the reason we actually care about what's happening in the plot. Okay, our foundation is solid. Now it's time to build the front door. We're talking about the hook. This is that all-important first impression that has to grab your reader and practically drag them inside. One great way to do this is to start with a really compelling statement about a character. You read a line like this, and what's the first thing you think? Oh, I bet she's not. It immediately sparks your curiosity. Or, hey, you could just start with a question. This is clever because it instantly pulls the reader in. You're not just telling them a story anymore. You're inviting them to solve a puzzle with you. They're engaged from the get-go. Kicking things off with dialogue is also incredibly effective. It just drops us right into a huge, dramatic moment. There's no time to get bored. We've got to figure out what's going on right now. And finally, you can just start with a big, decisive action. This is that classic show, don't tell. A sentence like this promises conflict, it promises bravery, and it promises that something big is about to happen. All right, we've got our reader hooked. They're through the door. Now it's time to build the main structure. We have to raise the walls and put on the roof by building tension, guiding them toward one single, massive moment. This is a classic way to do it. You start with the exposition, you're just setting the scene. Then the rising action starts, where things get more complicated and the stakes get higher and higher, all leading to the climax. That's the peak, the explosion of tension. After that, the falling action deals with the consequences, leading to the final resolution. And let me be perfectly clear on this one. The climax is not optional. It is the absolute turning point of your story. It's what everything has been building towards. If you don't have that peak, the story just falls flat. It loses all its power. So, our structure is built. Now for arguably the most important part, the finishing touches. This is what makes a story truly unforgettable. Let's talk about the ending. A bad ending can completely ruin all of your hard work, but a great one, that's what people will be thinking about for days. So what'll it be? A sudden twist they never saw coming? A cliffhanger that leaves them hanging? Or maybe you bring the whole thing full circle, right back to where you started. I mean, just look at this example of a twist. You are right there with her, you feel her confidence, you're expecting a perfect score, and then bam, a 6. The rug is just pulled out from under you. It's shocking, it's memorable, and it leaves you asking, wait, what just happened? But an unforgettable story isn't just about the structure. It's also about the language itself, the texture of the words. This is where we add some spice. Figures of speech are what elevate your writing from just description into art. First up, we have the simile. This is a super simple, direct comparison using like or as. It's a fantastic way to paint a picture for your reader. by connecting something new to something they already understand, like saying something is as soft as silk. Now, a metaphor takes things up a notch. It's bolder. It doesn't say something is like something else, it says it is something else. The dew making a sea of dots on the grass. It's a small change, but it creates a way more powerful and poetic image. And then there's personification. This is when you give human qualities to things that aren't human, and it's a great way to create a mood. Water can't literally shiver, of course, but by saying it does, you make the reader feel that deep, unsettling cold. And let's bring it all back to endings with this one, the cliffhanger. A sentence like this is just a gut punch. It doesn't end the story, it just stops it. It forces you, the reader, to imagine what happens next, to finish the story in your own mind. It's so effective. So there you have it, the whole construction process. From the blueprint of the plot to the final little spices in the language. You have the tools, you've got the plan. So the only real question left is, what kind of story are you going to build?